Hi, my name is Larry, and my MDE project was to build a federal interest rate prediction model using economic data and news headlines. In this talk, I'll be giving a brief overview of my project and the lessons I learned during its development. Why is federal interest rates important to predict? Well, this rate is the basis for all consumer rates, such as credit card rates and mortgage rates. By predicting federal interest rates, we can make more informed decisions regarding borrowing and spending money. Currently, our model takes in numerical, economic data, and text-based news headlines and predicts the movement of federal interest rates. This project was developed using the Agile methodology. The benefit of this iterative process is that it allows us to get feedback early on from our peers and professors and fix design mistakes before it becomes too difficult to change. Overall, we made good progress towards our goal, but the training and validation loss could be better. This means that our product is still not reliable, even misleading at times, which is financially dangerous when used for real-world applications. During the development of my project, I learned 3 important lessons. The first lesson is to use the right development tool. Initially, my team and I worked on our own computers and workspaces. Then we will hop onto a Zoom call to determine what parts of our code will get pushed into our GitHub repository. This process was very inefficient. We constantly had dependency issues. One person would use an older version of a library that was not compatible with another person's code, and we would spend hours trying to fix it. Also, there was a lot of overhead because we needed to schedule times to meet and hold a meeting on Zoom before we could make any sort of progress. Finally, we decided to use Google Colab. This allowed us to work in a single unified workspace so that there were no compatibility issues. It also meant we can work asynchronously because everyone could see each other's work at any time. Overall, we were able to cut out a lot of Zoom calls and irrelevant dependency issues that would have wasted so much time. The second lesson I learned was to use a project management tool like Trello or Asana. These tools let you keep track of future tasks, current tasks, who's working on them, and what tasks are done. My team and I didn't use a project management tool, and we suffered a lot. During our weekly stand-ups, we had no clue who was working on what. This meant we often had multiple people working on the same task, and no one working on others. We spent a lot of time every meeting sorting out our priorities before planning our next steps. Furthermore, we had trouble keeping track of where we were along our project timeline. Most of the time, we fell behind schedule for our project check-ins with our professor and had to scramble at the last minute to finish things up. A project management tool would have solved a lot of these issues. Even if these issues were to appear, a project management tool would have given us early signs of them so we could fix things before they got out of hand. Finally, the third lesson I learned was to explore and understand my data before anything else. Data is hard to find, and most of the time we cannot find the data we want. So, before diving into the technical details, make sure to see what data you have and what issues are present in your data set, like missing values or imbalanced data. My group and I were really excited to build our model, so we started designing the model based on assumptions on how our data will look like. Our thought was, we can just find the right data later. This was a big mistake. I would argue that a majority of our time on this project was spent looking for datasets that would fit into our model instead of the other way around. In the end, we found some useful data, but we didn't find enough data to train our model on, and we wasted a lot of time. In the end, our model reflects this through its unsatisfactory results. And these were the 3 big lessons I learned in this project. So, what's next for this project? Now that we have a baseline model working, the next step is to build an application around it that forecasts federal interest rate predictions live. To do this, we need to build the infrastructure needed to continuously scrape data from Fed and news outlets. Once we have this, we can run the data through our model and display the predictions in real time on a cool-looking dashboard. Afterwards, we can focus on improving our model. In summary, my MDE project was to build a machine learning model to predict federal interest rates using economic data and news headlines. Currently, our model works, but the results need to be improved before real-world application. During the development of the project, my team and I faced many challenges, and most of them were due to poor project management skills and lack of foresight. However, my project taught me a lot about project management and software development. The 3 main lessons I learned are as follows. We should always use the right tools, track our progress using a project manager, and look through our data for guidance before jumping into design and development. For now, future plans include creating an application around our model so that users can view interest rate predictions live. That concludes my talk. Please direct any questions towards the Q&A board. Thank you for listening.